Is your reaction time really that bad?
That's the definition of insanity right there.
Lol, you jumped right into that. Just as I expected.
Search query error for brainless object only capable of moving in one direction.
Nice. Keep doing that right before the finish line.
Hey, this is Jonas with another chill indie game devlog. Currently working on my second Steam release, Will You Snail. 2 weeks ago I've challenged myself to finish this game within just 4 weeks, so there are only 2 weeks remaining now. I've already started getting quite nervous for no particular reason at all. The launch is still quite a while away. The game will come out in 2020, so if you don't want to miss the launch, just head over to Steam and hit the wishlist button. If you have seen last week's devlog, then you might remember that I've written and implemented a crap load of new voice lines last week. Because during gameplay the AI is mostly just a silent observer for now. I want that to change. I want the AI to be able to comment on pretty much everything you do. So that brings us to this week, as well as to a horrible realization I had Monday morning. Okay, so from voice line 350 all the way to 933. That means I'll have to record 600 voice lines.
Help me. I'm scared.
Now this will be my recording setup. Cubase on the left with all of the voice lines I've recorded already, which by the way already looks like a crazy barcode. Ton of voice lines already in there. And then over here is another piece of Cubase, and then of course here I have the voice lines that I actually want to record. So this is my text sheet. Before I started recording, I went through all of the voice lines again real quick, just to make sure that I was still happy with the writing and to correct a couple of spelling mistakes here and there. I was actually legit a bit scared of the recording session because I just had no idea how long it would take me to record 600 voice lines. And according to my development plan, I had 2 days for the entire process. Which, yes, includes editing. Okay, 600 voice lines, let's say, takes me 10 seconds to record a voice line. That equals 100 minutes. So I thought the recording session would take me 1 hour and 40 minutes. You can't even begin to imagine the amounts of processing power available to me. Wow, you landed precisely where you weren't supposed to land. Wow, you landed precisely where you weren't to Wow, you No,
come back! You will die! You will
I'm fine. Totally fine.
Of course, we all know that by the end of the week, I was no longer fine.
I can hear the voice lines. They are talking to me.
But I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Lol, you jumped right into that, just as I expected.
Lol, you jumped right into that. Just as I expected.
Existence is quite simple, you see. You will suffer. Suffer. Merry Christmas. Actually kind of challenging to get the voice sounding the same all the time. Cause sometimes I do the voice like this, and sometimes I accidentally do it like this. And that makes the voice line sound a little different from one another. I hope that nobody will notice.
At that point I really needed a break from all the craziness, so took a little bit of time to chill outside. I like craziness, I enjoy craziness. That's why I'm making Will You Snail, but a person can only take so much. And I'm not gonna lie, recording 600 of these voice lines was a bit much.
All of the voice lines recorded, and my voice is still working. Woo!
Here are all of the old voice lines where, remember, that was already a ton of work to edit all of that. And here are the new ones. So instead of 1 hour 40, recording the voice lines pretty much took me the entire day. And here came already the next big challenge. Editing. Search for silence. Yeah, that actually looks quite good. Calculate.
And that's how the suffering begins.
Here's what I have to do to every single one of the voice lines. Check if it's the correct one, then hit P, Shift P to create a new cycle marker. And then I just have to name that cycle marker, give it the correct name, in this case, Nested Sim Brain Room 01. And that's it, now I can move on to the next one. On Monday evening I spent like another 1.5 hours on that, and it actually looked like I got a lot done. Look how many voice lines I've already named. Isn't that awesome? Until I zoomed out. It's just such a small fraction though. This area is what I've managed to edit today. Guess what? My Tuesday was pretty much entirely spent on naming voice lines.
I can simulate entire universes. Millions of them, in fact.
I've been asked a couple of times already how I make Squid's voice sound like that. Did you really not see that coming? Step 1 is just to use an equalizer to EQ away some of the lower frequencies. Did you really not see that coming? Step 2, using autotune to pitch the voice downwards. Did you really not see that coming? But then once again getting rid of the low frequencies using an EQ.
Did you really not see that coming?
And then just adding some chorus and flanger to make it sound a bit fuller.
Did you really not see that coming?
To top it all off, I then make some use of the autotune, basically to add some glitches to its pitch, so he just sounds a bit more interesting.
Did you really not see that coming? Really?
So on Tuesday I just kept grinding the naming process. Took some breaks, of course, ate enough food, didn't crunch, no worries, I'm fine.
I think I actually just found a cool melody for the boss fight. Usually the Will You Snail melody sounds like this. For the boss fight, I just came up with this.
On Wednesday it was finally time to put the voice lines into the game. They were finally done. Just kidding, they were not, because I still had to do this stupid pitching process for about 590 other voice lines. So at this point I was basically falling super behind in my development timeline. Luckily the only other thing planned for that week was a statistics screen for the end of the game. And to be honest, in the worst case scenario, the game can just do without that.
I'm not crazy. You are crazy.
Now at that point, as you might imagine, I was already super sick of the voice lines. I just couldn't hear them anymore, but it didn't help. I needed to get it over with. Taking some breaks in the forest always helps me to keep my sanity, because I really like trees. You might have heard that Mr. Beast is currently collaborating with the Arbor Day Foundation to plant 20 million trees. For every $1 you donate, they can plant 1 tree. I have already donated myself. I think it's a great project, so I thought worth a quick shout out. Or if you want, you can also join a game jam to spread some awareness. Whatever you can do is awesome.
I finally want to see some real blood.
Some of the voice lines also took some extra editing, like this one here for example.
I finally want to see some real blood.
Because at the end of the game, Squid really starts going crazy a little bit.
I'm good. Completely fine. Here, just play the level. Okay?
By the end of the day, I wasn't even halfway done with all of the new voice lines, which means on Thursday I definitely had to step it up a little bit.
Time for more busy work.
I'll spare you the details because it's just more of the same, and instead, I'll give you this. Hope that made you just as happy as last time I did that in a devlog.
Look! Just look!
Nice! Very nice! The editing was finally complete. I did it. Now all I had to do was clicking the export button. I of course meant to say finding the issue with the voice line naming.
So in theory I just have to check where there are 2 with the same name right after one another. I didn't see it.
5 hours later. Found the doubled voice line, renamed it. Now all I had to do was...
So I guess I'll do it again.
My third attempt was the one that finally succeeded. Cubase was batch exporting all of my voice lines, and at this point I was already so curious to hear all of those voice lines in-game. Okay, this is epic. Because I really wasn't sure, would it help the game, would it hurt the game, would it even feel any different with the voice lines? Drag all of them into GameMaker. Hope that doesn't crash GameMaker. GameMaker taking its time. Okay. Oh yes. Oh yes, it is on.
Now let's see if you're skilled enough to dodge these. Surprise! Wall spike! Now dance, my puppet. Dance. You need to move in the direction of the arrow when it's on top of you. Try again. Lol. You jumped right into that. Just as as I expected. That was so dumb. I'm not even going to comment on that. I can't even. Lol. You just want to see how I react to dumb crap like that, do you? Nice try. This is a race. The slowest participant will be eliminated. Too slow. Try again. It's very telling that even a piranha can outmaneuver you. You taught me how to manipulate and kill on your behalf. Error. This voice line has not been recorded yet.
So except for some minor bugs, everything working well. If you want to support me, best way you can do so is by wishlisting the game on Steam now. Just takes a couple of seconds and it actually helps a ton. In case you're new here, check out the rest of my videos. I have a ton of videos about game development, from devlogs to tutorials, all the way to some general advice on how to best get started with game development, how to market your indie game, how to use YouTube as a game developer, etc, etc. I share everything I learn in the hope that my stuff inspires you and helps you out. Have a great day. See you in the next one.